It's intercepted. Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's the volunteer to the CFB rather than
Touchdown. Can you believe it? What a game this was.
Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs.
What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with a quick college football flashback video, number 8 in our series. I'm sorry that I don't do these as often anymore. I did say I want to try to get some throughout the college football season. I've also said it could be an off-season thing just because we don't have any college football during the months of February to July. So it can be an off-season thing. But I think it's great when you have a game like Auburn, Georgia this week. And I want to do something this year because 10 years ago, we're going back a decade. And for me, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like yesterday I was watching these games. We're going to do the kick six later on for Iron Bowl week. But we got to start here. The prayer at Jordan Hare, Auburn and Georgia, 2013. Auburn ends up winning the game 43-38. But how did it get there? What led to it? Auburn had title hopes hanging in the balance. And this was a game where they built up a 10-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. Then they go up and they're up 27-10. Georgia came back. Then it was 34-17 going into the fourth. Okay, picture this. 34-17 at the start of the fourth quarter. What if I told you Georgia outscored them 21-9? You would have thought it was crazy. Couple field goals and a touchdown for Auburn. A miracle on the plains. When you look at this, the Tigers, who at the time were 10-1, or 9-1. They ended up 10-1 after this win. They were 5-1 in Southeastern Conference play. They blew a 27-7 lead, pulled one more out though, a big play to basically help them with what seemed like the biggest turnaround in college football history. I remind you guys, in 2012, Alabama was dominating the sport. Georgia was in the SEC championship. Auburn, nobody cared. Gene Chizik was in his last season. He went 3-9. Gus Malzahn comes in as a first-year head coach in 2013 and pulls off 2 unbelievable wins. Iconic plays. The prayer at Jordan Hare, which we're talking about today, and the kick six. We'll highlight that very soon, I'm sure. I would hope to, even though it still kind of hurts as an Alabama fan, but it's still remarkable to see as a college football fan. Forget Alabama for a second, like I say. If you're just a college football fan that loves the game and you don't care who wins, Auburn in 2013 making a championship, falling short in the final seconds to Florida State, that was an incredible year. And it's been 10 years. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I feel like it was just yesterday. I was watching the kick six in my grandparents' living room in South Carolina, back when they lived in South Carolina. I feel like that was all yesterday. Isn't that crazy? Some of y'all might feel the same way. Getting into this game. Getting into it. So it was 36 seconds remaining in the ball game. 38-37 was the score. They could have gotten field goal range. Well, they ended up with what was a 4th and 18 play. 4th and 18. right? So what had happened was they had called a couple timeouts. They called one. Georgia called one. Uh, it was Nick Marshall was the quarterback. Aaron Murray was the quarterback for Georgia. Some might say he's the greatest Georgia quarterback. Others say it's Stetson Bennett. I don't know. I mean, you don't really have many to choose from. No offense. So it was all supposed to be about Aaron Murray. Georgia's in a position in this game. If they keep winning and they keep going, because going into the game, who am I kidding? They were 6-3 going into this game, right? So they were kind of struggling. They were just fixing to be knocked out of the top 25, and they did end up getting knocked out after the loss. But a road upset would have helped. They were going to a bowl game. It just would have strengthened their record and everything. They had lost some key pieces. A year ago, they were in an SEC title against Alabama, and Aaron Murray almost won it. I don't know. I mean, Georgia was not in the position that they are today. Auburn was in a better position, but Georgia was holding on for this rivalry game that you look at and you say, okay, we have a chance to pull an upset to help give us an extra win. And at the time of this game, Georgia had won the last two. So they could have gotten 3 straight. They almost did win this game, obviously. But when you look back at history, Auburn won in 2017. Could you imagine where it would be if not for 2013? I mean, this would truly be a one-sided affair in this rivalry. Georgia won in 11, 12. Imagine if they went in 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 5 straight, 6 straight games if they had won in 2013, but they didn't. Auburn, it wasn't much of an upset, but it was a miracle. And Rob Bramlett had it good, man, how he called it. He was a great radio voice. I think Andy Burcham does a fantastic job right now for Auburn, but you cannot live up to what Rod Bramlett was able to call for Auburn, calling 2 iconic games with the prayer at Jordan Hare and the kick 6. That being said, we're going to go ahead and show you the play on 4th and 18 from the Auburn Tigers YouTube channel. And it's amazing how Bramlett was able to call this one. Take a look.
Here's your ball game. Nick Marshall stands in, steps up, going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped up. And Lewis caught it on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown, Auburn. Touchdown, Auburn. A miracle in Jordan Hare. A miracle in Jordan Hare. 73 yards, and the Tigers, with 25 seconds to go, lead 43 to 38.
So you see that call there, Rod Bramlett, rest in peace. Great broadcaster and announcer. If you notice in that play, Georgia had 2 defenders right there. They let a man behind them, and Ricardo Lewis had great speed to focus on the ball. I mean, it was almost intercepted. It was tipped up, as Rod Bramlett said. But then Ricardo Lewis, who I guess got a chance in the NFL. I don't know what has happened to the 2013 Auburn Tigers team since then in the past 10 years. I don't even know where Nick Marshall is today, honestly. But Ricardo Lewis, one of their lead receivers that year, of all names, caught the ball and ran it in. There were a couple defenders that could have just knocked it down and called it ball game. Could you imagine the turn? I mean, that game kept Auburn's season alive, and it was part of their path to a national title, even though they didn't beat Florida State, like I mentioned. Still to get there in Gus Malzahn's first year, I think is something special. So can it happen again this Saturday, 10 years later, almost since the prayer of Jordan Hare? Can it happen again? I do think Auburn can pull an upset. There's a part of me that kind of hopes for chaos, But at the same time, I go with my gut. You probably saw my prediction video already. I do have Georgia winning and by a couple possessions, but I do think Auburn has what it takes to make it a game. I think Peyton Thorne this year is a great quarterback. Has there been any Auburn quarterbacks that have lived up to what Nick Marshall did in 2013 though? I don't know. I don't even know how to define Nick Marshall other than he had some talent, but was he a product of what Gus Malzahn brought with his offensive scheme? So, and I remind people they hired from within after they let go of Gene Chizik. Gus Malzahn was the OC under Cam Newton in the national title game years back. So, again, the final score of this one, 43-38 with Auburn winning. And this was the 2013 prayer at Jordan Hare between Georgia and the Auburn Tigers. Let me say that again, actually. The Georgia Bulldogs and the Auburn Tigers. This is the Deep South's oldest rivalry. It's a good one. It's amazing. You got to love it. And maybe we'll see another miracle or something, another chapter in this historic rivalry this Saturday. Hope you enjoyed it. Share it out. Leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Love you guys. If I missed anything, man, if you have stories of this game and this rivalry, I'd love to hear them. I'm premiering this for you, but if you're watching it back, I'd love to hear from you in the comments on how you feel about this rivalry, Auburn fans, Georgia fans, college football fans in general. I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the rivalry? What did you remember about this game? And then ultimately, if there's anything I missed out, maybe a fun fact that I probably didn't know, please feel free to share that in the comments. But again, the final score was 43-38. Auburn got outscored in the fourth, but a late touchdown on the Plains lifted them to SEC glory. Love y'all. Y'all have a good one. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Ballard is out. Peace.